Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to talk about getting your spouse or significant other on board with budgeting. I want to first start off by saying that Jason has always been really on board with budgeting. A common saying that he says is it in our budget? And it usually happens when I'm like, oh, do you want to go do this? Or do you want to buy this? And he always says, is it in our budget? So I'm lucky enough to have someone that's, just as budget oriented as I am, but I wanted to put together some thoughts on getting your spouse involved, just in case you're not in that situation that I am. And it totally makes sense because from not having a budget to, all of a sudden budgeting, it's a tough transition, especially when, you've been overspending in some areas. So I just wanted to start off by telling you that because I don't want to mislead you that I had to convince Jason into budgeting. He's always been kind of into it. But anyway, let's just go ahead and get started. So the first thing, and I think the most important thing, is to give them a voice. So if this is your wife, your husband, your boyfriend, fiance, whatever, you need to let them contribute. So ask them questions when it comes to budgeting. Let them kind of discuss their fears and stuff like that when it comes to budgeting. Because if you don't give them a voice, they're probably not going to be as committed as if they were involved more. So definitely let them speak out about things that they're worried about or things that are coming up that they want to include in the budget, stuff like that. The next thing is to talk about money. And I put a lot because Jason and I are constantly talking about money. We are talking about what's coming in, what's going out. So for example, we always kind of look back at our bills and say, why is our electric $30 higher this month? Or why is our gas $40 less than what we've been budgeting? And doing that just kind of helps us get an understanding of what we're doing right and what we're doing wrong. I always do my mid-month check-ins where I look at what we're spending for groceries, and that's been a huge thing for us because now I do that mid-month check-in and I say, okay, Jason, when you go grocery shopping, we have to stay under this amount going forward. And this week he came back and he's like, I only spent $60 on groceries, and he was all excited because we talked about it, and it wasn't necessarily like don't spend that money anymore. It's we're a little bit over what we have planned for the month so far. Let's just try and keep it back, and and I forgot now. Sorry about that, guys. But anyway, it feels more of like a conversation than demanding to stay under a certain amount. So yeah, another thing that we talk about when it comes to money is investments and things that we want to do in the future. So Jason might say, I want to buy these new wrenches and I think it'll help when I'm fixing up the house. Stuff like that. So just talking about things that you have coming up, things that that you're going to have to spend money on, it makes a huge difference when it comes to budgeting just because you both know what to expect. The third thing that I have down is to set short-term and long-term goals. This is huge for us. For the most part, I would say that we try and focus on long-term goals, more specifically with our debt repayment. So if you are not familiar with kind of my story or my channel, right now I have student loans and we are paying off our car. So when I'm done with school in May, I plan to pay off all my student loans right at once and be completely done. And so that's something that I talk to Jason about, and I say, I really want to do this. Do you think it would be possible? Do you agree with it? Are you okay with that? Because that is a lot of money to just, put towards that debt. We just talk about those things. That way, when things come up, we're not surprised. Neither of us are, like, what? I didn't know that. We both know. And Jason feels like I'm taking his opinion and I'm actually, caring about what he thinks when it comes to budgeting. So that's the third thing. The fourth thing that I have here is to know your expenses. This is huge, especially because, and I put expenses. This is huge because you need to know where your money is going. And you need to know if one month is less expensive than the other, why. So following up with your expenses is huge. I try and do this quite a bit when it comes to, you know, our gas, our electric. One month it was $100 and the next month it was $70. So why was that? That's something that, you know, I definitely try and look into and try and follow that, because I would rather it be cheaper than more expensive. So just having those conversations. Jason always asks, like, oh, what was our electric this month, and what was our water this month? Just so that, you know, he has an idea and it's not a surprise when he sees, you know, how we did for the month. And the last tip that I have is to develop a money strategy. And this is kind of, there's lots of parts in this. So you want to figure out what you're going to be giving for gifts. This is huge because if, let's say, I give my sister $100 for a birthday gift, and then he goes and gives someone else a birthday gift for $25, it's kind of not fair, and he might not be okay with me giving $100. So just, you know, developing, okay, we're going to give $25 for gifts, or we're going to give $50 for gifts. It just makes it a lot easier, and you know, it causes less stress and arguments in the future. Another thing is lending to family. Are you going to, you know, are you guys going to lend to family? Is that like a strict no-go? For Jason and I, we do not lend to family. I know Dave Ramsey does not recommend it, and we've just had a lot of issues with it in the past. So as soon as someone asks, we say no, like, sorry, but Jason and I do not lend to family. Another thing is to have an allowance and to figure out what amount works for you. An allowance is huge for Jason and I because having an allowance makes budgeting seem less strict. It gives you some free spending money that you can go and buy whatever you want. And I know I enjoy it. Jason definitely enjoys it because I would say I use mine for like actual stuff. Jason uses his for food a lot. But, you know, going to Panda after working for a couple hours is nice for him. So definitely figuring out what you're going to do for an allowance. And the last thing is accountability. So how are you accountable? How are you two going to be accountable to each other? And this is huge. I would say Jason is definitely accountable to me because I check all of the bank and credit card statements. But Jason doesn't have access. I don't think he even wants access to like the online banking type stuff. So really I'm accountable because of you guys. I make budgeting videos and I post, you know, our results for the video or for the month. So you guys see when I overspend or whatever. So just having some accountability there makes a huge difference because then you're more likely to stick to the budget. So anyway, those were the 5 tips that I had for you guys. I hope they all made sense. Again, it's easier when you guys have someone like in your corner. So if you have your spouse who is supportive of budgeting and excited about, you know, repaying debt or saving money, it makes a huge difference. So I'm hoping that these 5 tips will help you guys when it comes to, you know, getting your spouse or significant other more involved. Again, for Jason and I, we really didn't have that issue. Jason has always been a huge saver. I would say for the most part, he spends like no money. So it was really easy to get him on board, but I know that it's not that easy all the time. So I thought it would be fun to put these, you know, this list together for you guys. And I really hope that it helps. So anyway, again, if you guys have any questions about what I discussed, or if you have any questions about like how I get Jason more involved or anything like that, just leave comments down below and I'll make sure to answer them when I get a chance. And that's it. So thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.